Hello, everyone. Good evening to all of you. Welcome to Exam Assure and welcome to the introductory live session regarding the vacancies that have been posted by the Tamil Nadu Municipal Administration and Water Supply Department. So today in this introductory session, we are going to discuss about the recruitment, a little bit about that. Along with that, we will try and understand what is the exam pattern and how should we keep our approach with respect to preparation for the exam. Now, as far as the entire process is concerned, so again, in this case, I hope all of you have gone through the notification, all of you have gone through the details of it. But in case if you have not, don't worry, we are going to discuss a bit about that as well. But today, our primary focus is going to be on what should be our strategy, how should we prepare for the exam. Now, if you see the recruitment that is being conducted, the exam that is being conducted, in this case, the recruitment will be done in the following three departments. That is your Directorate of Municipal Administration, Tamil Nadu Water Supply and Drainage Board, and the third one is the Chennai Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board. So, through one exam, there is going to be recruitment that will take place in these three departments. And as far as our domain of planning and architecture is concerned, there are various posts for the same. So if you look at it, you have the post for assistant engineer planning, town planning officer grade 2 or assistant engineer, and third one is town planning inspector or junior engineer. Now in this case, if you see the first two that are there, that is assistant engineer and town planning officer grade 2, these two posts are for your degree level. So people who have completed their graduation or post graduation, these are especially beneficial for you. And the third one, that is your town planning inspector exam, this is for your diploma standard level. Okay, so in today's session our major focus is on these two, that is assistant engineer and town planning officer. Now let's try and understand the exam pattern first as to what is the overall breakup of the exam, what is the marking scheme going to be. Now, with respect to the exam pattern, we can divide it as per the notification into two parts, that is written exam and your interview. Now, let's look at the written exam first. So written exam again can be bifurcated into two parts, that is part one, which would consist of your relevant subject paper, that is your either architecture or town planning or civil engineering. And part two, which is a common part where you have again, it is bifurcated into two, that is part A and part B. So part A is your Tamil eligibility test, where basic questions related to grammar would be asked. And in part B, it would consist of general knowledge and aptitude and mental ability test. And then the second part of the exam is your interview. Now, if you look at the detail, what is clearly mentioned in the notification is that for paper one, if you are a graduate of planning, or if you've done your bachelor's in planning or bachelor's in architecture or bachelor's in civil engineering, based upon your degree of bachelor's level, you would be giving only one particular exam. So for example, let's say that I have completed my bachelor's in architecture. So in that case, for paper one, which would be a MCQ type paper, objective type paper, in that case, I will get question paper of architecture only. And that is what I would have to solve in the exam. Let's say if somebody has completed their graduation in civil engineering, they would only be giving this paper, right? So there are three options, either town planning or architecture or civil engineering, three different types of papers based upon your bachelor level graduation. Okay, and this is for 300 marks, where the exam duration is of 3 hours. So paper 1, if you see, as they have clearly mentioned in the notification, would be conducted on 30th of June 2024. This exam would be conducted. Paper 1 would be conducted in the morning session, and paper 2, that is there, would be conducted in the afternoon session. Now, let's move into a little bit detail of paper 2. Now, as far as paper 2 is concerned, like I mentioned earlier, that it is divided into two, that is part A and part B. So part A is where you have grammar and basic language test, right? And in part B, we have general studies where we have 75 questions for that, and we have 25 questions for aptitude. Now, again, in this case, your part A of paper 2, that is there, this is only of qualifying nature. Means what? In this case, in part A, you are going to have 100 questions of 150 marks, first of all. Now, out of that, you need to score minimum 60 marks or 40% marks of 150 to be considered as qualified for part A. Now, only and only if you get more than 60 marks or more than 40% of 150 marks, only then would your paper B and paper 1 be considered for checking or marking. In case if you score less than 60 marks in paper part A, paper 2 part A, if you score less than 60 marks, in that case, your part B and part paper 1 would not be corrected, would not be considered for checking. Okay, I hope everybody has this clear idea. So even in part B, your total part B also consists of 100 marks for 100 questions for 150 marks and a duration of 3 hours. And the interview of 60 marks. So this adds up to a total of 510 marks, which would be considered for your final selection and final marking. So if you see 300 over here from paper 1, 150 of part A is only for your qualification. So this is not considered in your marking. And 150 from part B of paper 2 plus 60 adds up to 510. So I hope everybody has a clear idea now. Now let's move on to the next part, that is understanding the exam syllabus. So today, like I said, we are going to focus, our primary focus is on town planning and architecture in today's session. Let's quickly go through the syllabus of both. So for paper 1, that is town planning, now they've clearly mentioned the kind of questions or the difficulty level is something that would be of a degree standard, not of a postgraduate level or a diploma level, but completely bachelor's level degree standard. So they've mentioned 10 points where you would be asked questions related to basics of planning, master plan, regional plan, types of plan, Delphi model, let's say different models that are there, Lorry model, Delphi model, etc. Different analysis, what is environmental issues that are there, your CRZ, your environmental impact assessment, etc., urban infrastructure, network, and rather your services, project formulation, project management, CPM, PERT related questions, planning legislation, transportation planning, very, very important. Then you have your remote sensing and GIS and rather applications of technology within urban planning that have been clearly detailed out, and current trends, issues in planning, various ongoing government schemes that would be also focused upon in this case. Okay, for your town planning. Now coming to your architecture paper, let's say you are you have completed your graduation in architecture, bachelor's in architecture, so you would be giving only this paper of architecture. So here you have theory of architecture, where basics of architecture like your basic design, principles of architecture, principles of design, right? All of those would be asked under this theory of architecture. History of architecture, right from your ancient to medieval, modern and postmodern architecture. right, are something that should be focused upon. Materials and construction techniques, all kinds of materials, bricks, timber, glass, stone, etc., and many more. So the focus while preparing also should be on all of this. Along with that, building services, very, very important and very detailed out. They've clearly detailed out each and every point in building services. So right from your acoustics to your lighting, all of that has been clearly spoken about. Human settlements planning. So here primarily the focus is on basics of your planning. Again, more of history of planning, planning theories, like for example your neighborhood unit or concepts like garden city, etc., is something that we need to focus upon. Under urban studies, again, it is bifurcated into three different subjects rather. So you have urban design, housing, as well as conservation. So along with that, in environment, again, that is bifurcated into environment and landscape. Along with that, you have your energy efficient architecture, climatic design, climatology rather. Plus, you have project management. Again, your CPM PERT that we talk about, all of those are a part of this point. And professional practice, professional ethics, tools for practice. Again, this also consists of your computer applications and your softwares like your BIM, AutoCAD, Photoshop, etc., where questions would be asked. Okay, so I hope this is clear for all of you, and I hope this helps you get a better picture. Now, moving on to the paper two, right? Now, in case of paper two, if you see the part A of paper two, that is the Tamil eligibility test, which is of your state level 10 standard level. Okay, so it's not going to be too difficult, but as they've clearly mentioned that they are, you can expect questions like find the odd one out, convert words from English to Tamil or vice versa. You have antonyms, homonyms, find a single word with multiple meaning, etc. So these are, if you are well versed with Tamil, this paper 2 part A is something that is not very, very difficult since you are using this language on a daily basis, let's say. In that case, this would not be difficult to score more than 60 marks in part A of paper 2. Okay, so they've clearly detailed out everything, different terms, computer related terms in Tamil. For example, you have again singular, plural, etc. All of these things have been mentioned in the syllabus as a part of your part A. Coming to part B of paper 2, it is now focusing primarily on general studies, again at a degree level, degree standard, where the focus is on your current events, your geography of India, history of India, polity, economics, about the Indian national movement, again, a part of the Indian history, plus a special focus on the history, culture, heritage, uh, specifically related to the state of Tamil Nadu, the administration set up in the state of Tamil Nadu. So, if you see general studies, this is focusing at a general or pan India level as well as state level. So in this case, you need to know the general history, overall history, culture of India. That is the nation level study should also be done. Along with that, state level details related to especially history, culture, heritage, political movements, etc. should be well versed with. Okay. And especially for current events, what we would suggest is uh, the earlier you start reading newspaper, the better it would be. That would help you. Now, again, in terms of understanding or what to read also from the newspaper, what we would suggest is, since it's an objective exam, right? You don't need to go into a lot of detail and study point to point, but no important facts, important points that are more relatable to planning. So let's say some environmental issue, yes, it's a part of planning, could be a probable question, right? So if you look at the overall syllabus for part A, part B, as well as paper one in town planning or architecture, what we would say is architecture is a little bit more detailed out, where under one heading you have two, three more subjects that have been put up. So a little more lengthy rather than town planning. But yes, it's well balanced as well. Now, what should be the preparation strategy? We've looked at the syllabus, we've understood the exam pattern. Now, what should be our approach for the preparation? Now, I'm sure all of you know that we have a good amount of time in hand, as the exam is on 30th of June 2024. So, roughly around 4 months in hand, right? Now, in this case, let's first prioritize our subjects, our topics. Let's put them into different priority lists. So looking at the town planning part first. Okay, let's look at the town planning part first. Okay. Here in this case, can I prioritize, or in my priority one, I can put all the planning, core planning related topics like introduction to planning, planning theories, techniques, your theories, applications, GIS in planning, current trends in planning, planning legislation and framework as my priority one, primarily for two reasons, because this is a town planning exam or a paper for town planning. Here, planning has to be my first priority, rather core planning. And secondly, if you look at all of these topics, these are very, very lengthy to cover. And here, all details, right from the basics of planning till the detail and application of planning, right from your town planning level to urban to regional level, all of that is being covered within these 6 topics. So let's keep them as our priority one. And the remaining 4 topics, like your environmental issues, urban services, urban infrastructure, your project management, project formulation, and transportation planning could be a part of your priority too. So that does not mean at all that you have to ignore these. No, these are also equally very, very important. But just that priority one list, these are more detailed and more lengthy. So we would focus first on them, and then we would move on to covering these topics. Okay. And as far as architecture is concerned, so people who will be appearing separately only for the architecture paper, in that case, here we can prioritize your theory of architecture, history of architecture, building services, materials, building construction, and climatology or energy efficient architecture as our priority one list, primarily because these are your core subjects of architecture. Secondly, these are very, very lengthy and very detailed, is what you would be expected to know all of these in detail, right? So history of architecture, if you see, or building services, you need to have a detailed knowledge of these. These are also lengthy, and these are the base of your architectural design or architecture. So hence we put these in our priority one list. And for priority two, your settlement planning, urban design, housing conservation, environmental studies, construction management, professional practice, or computer applications tool for practice. These could be put into your priority two list because, first of all, these subjects are can be easily covered in a shorter duration of time. They are not very lengthy as such. There are a few basic concepts within all of these that you need to know for any objective or MCQ type of exam. They are definitely not as lengthy as these and not as complex as these ones. as your priority 1 list. So these can be priority 2 list subjects can be easily covered in a shorter duration of time, and plus they are little lighter also, not uh, too much of factual data that you need to know. Like for example, in architecture, history of architecture, you need to remember a lot of factual data, so that is definitely going to take up more time to remember facts. Whereas if you look at all of these are more of your conceptual based subjects, right? So once the concept is clear, you are good to go for these subjects. Now, since we have separately prioritized your topics for town planning as well as for architecture, what should be now the strategy for the next 4 months? So let's assume some of you are going to be giving the planning paper, some of you are going to be writing the architecture paper, right? Depending upon your graduation or your bachelor's degree. So today is your 18th of February. Let's say you start from tomorrow, that is 19th Feb. Choose whatever your level of graduation is or whatever your subject of graduation is, architecture or planning. Using this, you can prioritize this. So this is what I am sharing right now is applicable for both architecture as well as planning, depending on what you are attempting. So let's say from starting immediately from tomorrow, right? For the next few months, you focus on your priority 1 subjects, respectively for planning and architecture. Along with that, side by side, what you need to also focus on is your paper 2 part B, right? Where we spoke about general studies, history of India, Indian national movement, history of Tamil Nadu, etc. So that also you have to start simultaneously. Now, this data or this strategy that I'm sharing with you is considering that you are probably a working professional, or some of you are maybe doing your own practice, etc. But also need to find time to prepare for this exam, right? So even within a day, at least if you give 2 hours for priority 1 subject and another 1 or 2 hours for your paper 2 part B, that would still be beneficial in the longer run. So from Monday to Friday, you focus on preparing for these subjects or these topics. And on Saturday and Sunday, what you should focus on is revising what you have studied in the prior week. So let's say on 24th and 25th of February, I revise and go through everything that I have done from 19th to 23rd of Feb, right? Similarly, even in the month of March, focus only on your priority 1 subjects, because honestly, they are lengthy. They are going to consume your time and you need to be repeatedly revising these, right? Hence, we will give them longer time, and that is why also they are in our priority 1 list. Simultaneously, part B of paper 2 and revision on weekends. Now, along with this continues up till the month of April, the second week of April. By second week of April, you should be done with your priority 1 subject. So you get good 1 to 2 months for your priority 1 subjects, 1 topic, right? Along with that, then you start moving on to priority 2 from mid-April. Even in this, your paper 2 part B should continue, and similarly revision on weekends should continue, because this revision is going to help you in the month of June, right? If Because trust me, from the experience that we have at Exam Assure, revision is the key to crack the exam. It is very, very important. Now, another point I would like to also add is which subject should I take first in priority 1? let's say over here, you are talking about these subjects in planning or these subjects in architecture, right? For priority one. Now, which one should I choose first? Now, that completely depends upon you understanding what are your strengths and weaknesses. Let's say, for example, if I am good at history of architecture and I know that, for example, I am weak in building services. So, finish the one first where you know you are weak or which is not your area of strength. So you get a longer period of time or longer duration for revision and going through that particular topic, right? If I know that I'm good at history of architecture and I can remember facts very easily, probably I could start with that in the month of April, in the last 2 weeks of April, where I have to finish off with my priority one subjects. Okay. Now, in the month of May, by the third week of May, you should be done with your priority two subjects for planning separately or architecture. Both of them by 17th, you should be done with that. Again, revision on weekends is a must. Now, by 19th of May, we begin with our first revision. So, what do you do from 19th of May till 8th of June? Roughly 3 weeks, you revise and go through everything that you have done till 18th of May. Now, it's definitely some things could be that, maybe, um, let's say by 10th, I had decided to finish human settlement planning from 6th to 10th, for example, and I could not finish it by 10th. And from 13th, I had scheduled to study urban design 13 to 17th, for example. And on 10th May, I could not finish human settlement planning. So whatever part is remaining, okay, whatever topic from human settlement is remaining incomplete, maybe you can take that up also during this revision and complete it. Because here we are still 1.5 month we have in hand before the exam. So you can still complete that as well, right? And revision one is, trust me, definitely not going to take a lot of time. Why? Because you have been revising everything on the weekends, right? So the more you revise, the lesser time you are going to take as you move forward, right? So now coming to, yes, revision 2 from 9th to 22nd June, we look at your second revision where again you are going through everything that you have covered till date, probably taking down points, noting down some points which you are not able to remember while revision. Take note of that. And the last week, keep it for third revision, where again you just go through everything that you have done. So the more you revise, the more helpful it will be. Along with that, again, as we are going through these subjects, right, as and when you are um, finishing one topic, one subject, do attempt their particular tests, sectional tests. That would be much beneficial. Plus, if you have attempted those sectional tests or full length mock tests, revise those also where you have gone wrong. Note down the points where you have gone wrong, probably. Revise those as well in this period. Okay. So that would be beneficial because let's say that you never know, you can get some question from some test in the exam, and it would be really helpful if you've revised and if you know that, okay, I was wrong there in the test. So yes, I know this is the correct answer. And in case if you don't revise, it would be a big regret. Ki, oh, I should have gone through that one question. It's the same question, but now I can't remember the answer. So let's not lose out on those points also, those marks also. So I hope this is helpful for all of you. Along with that, please wait back till the end, we have some giveaway. We have a special offer for all the students who've joined today. And along with that, we are launching our live online course from the 21st of February. So there will be separate live batches for people who are going to opt for architecture and separate classes for students who are going to give the exam for town planning. Now, along with this, the live classes, these would be conducted by uh, people or faculty who have qualified various competitive exams as well as have secured top ranks in GATE exam. There would also be live guidance sessions with candidates of Exam Assure who've qualified the TNPSC ADTP exam. Plus, we would be also providing your weekly subject-wise mock tests. So let's say today we finish your history of architecture or maybe GIS for planning. So immediately after that, we would be giving you tests to solve related to that topic. So that would help you to analyze where you need to focus more on. Along with that, the faculty would also be sharing different techniques of solving these MCQ type questions. So the town planning exam or the course for town planning is from 21st February to 27th April, and for architecture from 21st Feb to 31st May. So in the month of February for both these courses, we would be having our sessions, live online sessions from on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 to 9:30 p.m. And from the month of March till May, we would be having sessions on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 to 9:30 p.m. So these would all be live online sessions where you can ask your doubts, get your doubts, queries cleared from the faculty. Plus, you would be provided with recorded lectures of these to be accessed in case if you miss any lecture. But what we suggest is try and join the live class, take your own notes. That would be helpful in the longer run. So these recordings also would be accessible to you till the date of the exam. And the price for that is not 12,500 or 15,000. It is 6,499 and 8,999. But like I said, we are having a special surprise for all of you who have joined us today. So currently for the first 20 minutes, we are having another discount of 500 where you can use this promo code and apply. This is only for the first 20 minutes if you want to enroll for the course. So the link is being shared in the chat below. We have another surprise, that is we would also be conducting various guidance sessions, live guidance sessions from which would be conducted by students, past students of Exam Assure who have qualified the TNPSC ADTP exam. So they would be sharing their strategies, their what worked for them, what uh, they felt that they should have avoided or they could have avoided during their preparation, etc. So all these candidates would be addressing your queries as well in case if you have any issues during those sessions as well. So this is an additional giveaway from our side for all the candidates who want to prepare for this exam. So wishing you all the best for the exam. Thank you.